you think about it in layers, like the main outline is the main, right? That covers the whole face. So I'm going to start off by tracing that out. Now, there's very fine detail here, but we're not going for fine because it's a logo. We're going for just the idea of what it is. So I start with the pen tool because that allows me to like trace my own lines, right? So I start with the pen tool and I'm going to trace out the main. So just real quickly and roughly, boom. I'm doing these points here to kind of give that same kind of illusion of like what the main's doing. And then right here where it reverses, I'm going to reverse the direction of them so that they're in line with the hair. Yeah. And then right here it kind of comes up instead, boom, boom. And then there's kind of transition. Okay, now when I close this, it allows me to fill it. So over here, I'm in fill and stroke. I can fill it. But before I fill it, currently it's stroked, which is like drawing the outline. Before I fill it, I'm going to go to my edit pass tool. And because these are very straight lines, and the main is not a straight line, I'm just going to pull these handles. You hold shift and then you can pull out the handles. And I'm going to make this rounded, like this. And all that takes is just pull out the handles just like this. You're controlling like where the line goes. Like that. And that's going to give me these kind of rounded, spiky looking deals. And right here, I'm reversing the direction of them, but same thing. Just pulling each one out. And all I'm doing is like, again, holding shift and then grabbing these handles and pulling them out. So now we have this shape, and I'll go ahead and hit fill on it. I'm going to get rid of the stroke because we don't need it at this point. So this is kind of the outline of the head. Now we have that. Now, in order to see through it so I can continue seeing the line, I just need to lower the opacity, which is like how much you can see it. So I'm just going to lower the opacity so I can still see this outline, but I can also see the line. Now the next thing I'm going to do is start looking at details and whatnot of the head. So I'm not going to worry too much about this ear that I left out. It's not that big of a deal. But we've got this ear, we've got the nose and the mouth and the eyes. Those are the main kind of details that stick out. And then we've got like this line in the forehead and kind of like this line showing, it just shows like the angles of the face, basically. We've also got a delineation in the mane where it's like back here it's darker and right here and then it's also lighter. But again, we're keeping it simple. There's no reason to like overcomplicate it. So what I'll do now is just draw in some of these other details. And I'll just go back to the pen tool, which is like the most useful of the tools. And in this case, I'm just going to do this. And then come back and draw it to the same, like this. Come to my editor tool. And get this to follow that shape of the ear. That. And then with these, I'm gonna come up here. There's these, it tells you what it does. So this one makes the selected nodes a corner, which is what these are. So they're corners, like you can see, it's a point or a corner, like it's an angle. This one will make the node smooth, which means it smooths out the angle. This makes the select node symmetric, which means that both sides are the same. Both of these handles will be the same, but like opposite. So if I click the symmetric, see that? It makes it straight. And if I go to edit them, they move together like this. And what this does is like as it comes through, it keeps them even. So I'm going to use that on this. But I'm going to pull it back in a bit so it's not too far out there. And then I'm going to adjust this because there's a slight angle that I don't like about it. Just pull it out a little bit like that. And then I'm going to fill it so I can get an idea. And then I'm going to also do this part of the ear. So probably just like this. Same thing like that. Create a shape like this. Go back to the editor. Pull this out. Probably move this a little bit. Okay, now when these are snapping together like this, you could want that or you could not. If you don't want it, this is the option that does it. So if you click this, it'll stop doing that. So I can drag it as close as I want and it won't snap to it. But if you do want it to do it, you just make sure that's on. It's on by default. Okay, so I just pull this out, boom, and then pull this out like this, and this out like this, so that I get like the kind of curve that I want to kind of trace it out. Go ahead and fill it. And then I'll do the eyes, same thing, very quickly, like. And I'm going to the points of it, like that. This is where it starts. There's a corner of the eye there, the corner of the eye there, corner of the eye here. Boom, and then there's a kind of a shape like that, so I'm going to do it like that this time. So I'll pull this up to follow the eye. Has kind of a thing like that. Kind of goes like that, so use both angles. And over here, it kind of has it too. So I'll do that. Pull that up a little bit. Okay. And then right here, I'll just add that kind of little deal like that. And then I can fill that just to get an idea what it's looking like. Okay. And then do the same thing on this eye. Editor. This one's kind of hard to see, and since it's hard to see, I'm just going to change it to like a lighter color, just so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Put that down. That, and then again, same thing with this. Hard to see again, so for now I'm just going to change the color to green. Get rid of the stroke. So now we can see, and if we want to go back and like check this, we can raise the opacity and see what like these look like. If I go ahead and oh shit, that's fucking okay. Just to get an idea of like what these eyes are looking like. Same thing with the ear. Just bring the color out. I just copy pasted that value in there to have that. So now we've got the ear, we've got the eyes. The last thing was the nose. So lower that opacity so I can see again. And I'll hit the nose out. So corner of the mouth there, corner there, corner there, corner there. There's kind of a corner here, and then one in the middle there. Shit, I hit a button. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, always save. Like at this point, I'm gonna save. Because if you don't save frequently, you can get crashes on this shit. And if you get a crash, it doesn't auto save, so you will lose everything you did. boom, boom, boom. Back to there, to the corner of the mouth. In this case, I think I'm going to try this real quick. So I'm going to bring it like all the way around there. And then back to the center there and back to there. And I'll come to my editor. And I'm just following out these angles like before. Boom. It comes out a little bit. It comes up a little bit like that. Okay. And then it's kind of rounded. So I'll pull it out like that. Like that. And then it comes up. I'll use this symmetrical because that's kind of what it does. Pull this one up. Something like that. Pull that up. That should come down a little bit more. Okay. And for here, again, I'm doing like all the way down here to the thing. Get that to do something like that. Go ahead and fill it. That stroke. So we got the nose. And that may or may not be good. I'm about to check it. Bring the opacity up. Yeah, that's fine. The way I'm picturing it is not with these colors. What I'm going to do is show you how to cut things out in a second, and so that's what we're actually aiming to do here, so you know. Now, after I've got these main features, I'm going to add some details. Like I said, like right here, this in the head, this is really good at showing, like we don't need, like our eyes will fill in details, so we don't need all the details, but this is like a good detail to include because it gives you an idea of what's like the kind of the shape of the head in this case. That. Like that. Very simple, just like that. Maybe bring this down here a little bit. That's good. Okay. Change the color just so we can see it later. All right. And then maybe you could add like this little shape here. Control Z is your undo. Okay, then we'll just go ahead and fill it instead of stroking it. Okay, that caused a little issue right there. I think these are backwards. Yeah, they're backwards. That's what the problem is. Alright, something like that. Get that little color change so we can see it. And really, too, in this case, you could actually Control C is copy, and then V is paste. And so what I can do is I can Control paste, copy it, resize it a little bit, rotate it a little bit, and there's also one of these right here. And then there's a third one actually right there, so I could copy and paste again, scale this down, maybe widen it a little bit, and then put it right there. And just bring the opacity up. And you can see now we've got this good detail here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're pretty much done. I would maybe add the face line. So come from like here, and I'm talking about this. Just like a light line to kind of give you an idea of where
Jawline.
Yeah, like where. Yeah, exactly. The jawline is something like this. I'm just going to kind of follow where it is. Let's see. Kind of play with it a little bit. Let's see how that looks. That might be good. That might not. We'll see. It's a little too sharp. Hold up. Also, I think I should go like this. I think I should actually be like somewhere like there. Maybe come like this. Oh.
Just be a little lower.
If you hit shift, you can select multiple things at a time.
Wow. Yeah, that looks really good.
I don't know how much I'm liking it. I'm getting rid of that. Point is, we don't really even need to do that at this point, really. We could do the whiskers, too. I think I'm going to do the whiskers. Because that'll be easy. I can just do a single line, and then if I can edit it to be... to go along with these whiskers. Just do a few of them. And then just adjust them. Gonna affect all of them at once like this.
Yeah.
All right.
Bow.
I think the whiskers are too much too. I think we're good where we were at. Shouldn't be wasting time doing all that. Fuck it. Oh, this is a good example of a time. Hang on. When you would want to like drag select, because like I might end up accidentally clicking on like other things. I have to drag off of this, but then this will only enclose fully those whiskers. I don't have to worry about the rest. So, alright, so I have all these things on here, and, oh, there is one more thing I want to add. So, I'm thinking cutouts that kind of go along with this. This is the last thing I would add. So, like I did on the other one, make sure I can see them. I'm just going to add these cutouts. Bro, I wish I'd stop defaulting to black. And I'm kind of following these to give it like cut, like things, it's going to cut out of the
The main.
yeah, this main black thing. So, kind of following those. And there's like a bunch of ways you could theoretically do this. Like, I'm not showing you a way to like, oh, you gotta specifically do it this way. It's more like this is like a good way to kind of add some like negative space to this because it's kind of blocky.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other ways you can do it. That's another reason why I'm like, you don't want to copy exactly what I'm doing per se. Just kind of understand like the concept of how you do it. Okay. And then, boom. See, I'm using the same tool too. Like, this is all one tool. Like, you don't need to understand like a bunch of different tools. Kind of going in line here like this. With these. So they kind of look like all together, like they make sense. Because it's not about like making something like exactly like something, but like just like close enough. Like make it make sense. I'm also gonna kind of give these a little bit of.
And that kind of shows the jawline right there.
Yeah, it does. I should have just done it that way, huh? And then maybe move that so that yeah, it's more. I can also rotate it a bit, I think. And then maybe bring this one over too.
That looks really good.
I'd have to make it smaller though, and then it'll work real good.
That one to the bottom left should be moved a little bit to line up with that bottom. Somehow like rotated.
Oh. I mean, this one, it's kind of going around the like face like that. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we have these kind of like differentiations. If I go ahead and just go over to my objects and I hide that picture, this is what we have so far.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of weird colors and all this shit. So what I want to do is, instead of these being color blocks, what I want to do is I want to cut these pieces out of the black. Okay, so the way you do that is to first combine these into one like thing. So you're gonna click, hold shift, and select all these pieces individually, like this. Zoom in, grab that, grab that, grab that. So I've grabbed all the pieces. I'm gonna right click and create clip group. And now these are all one piece. I can move them all together. And at this point, if you wanted to maybe adjust it somehow or something like that, you could. But what I'm gonna do is I have that selected, and I'm gonna also hold shift and select this background deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna click object, clip, set inverse.
Oh.
And that's going to cut that out, and now those pieces are cut out, and this is one piece. Now, you can undo that, and you can go back if you need to. But in this case, I'm satisfied with this. Like, I'm very happy with how this turned out. Once you do this, I'm fairly sure. I want to try this. I can't remember if you can do this or not. But let me check. If I do this, and then object... Okay, yeah. So you can only clip that out once like this, and then once you do that, I think you have to. Okay, that's like non-destructive, so I can hit release clip. Let's see, and that should. Wait, hang on. Yeah, these objects should come back. But I would just wait until you're sure, and then you have this, whatever. You know, you have this how you want it, because otherwise, it's kind of like troublesome to be doing more. I do want to try one more thing, because I'm trying to remember. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, there's also masks. That is what I was trying to do. A mask controls like what part of it you can see. So like say we wanted to
How'd you put that there?
what?
That shape?
This shape?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just a square.
Oh, okay.
It's a square with the rounded
Edges.
So, let's see. But say we wanted like this cross section of it and maybe a little bit bigger, maybe like this, right? And then I could go select this and then select the tiger guide. This is on top. That's what has to do with like which one cuts which one. And then go to mask, set, and now it cut it out like this. So you can clip and then mask, but you can't clip and then clip.